and welcome to National Otter Week. We are this week going to be focusing on something called digital literacy. So you know that most of the time we talk about literacy, which is becoming a better reader. Well, digital literacy is becoming a better reader online. If you think about it, reading online is a completely different way of reading most of the time. I mean, you're looking at different sources, you've got short articles, long articles, pictures, hyperlinks, all kinds of stuff, and you don't usually even read it in a linear fashion or in a, top to bottom, read the whole thing fashion. Usually you're looking for a specific thing, and you find that and you don't read the rest of the article, or you follow a rabbit trail of hyperlinks and you end up somewhere completely different. It's just a different way of reading. So today I'm going to talk about digital comprehension, which just means understanding what you read online. So not too different in this scenario, just understanding. There are a couple strategies that you'll want to learn, though. If you don't know them already, you probably do them by reflex without knowing what they're called. That will help you read better on the internet. So the first one is called skimming. When you're skimming an article or a book or whatever you're reading, if you're skimming it, that just means that you're not reading every word. You're just quickly going down the page, getting the gist of things, picking up words here and there, and when you get to the bottom of the page, you have some idea of what they were talking about. Oh, this article was about otters. It's about how they're endangered, or whatever the article is about. Well, that's called skimming, and we do that a lot on the internet just because there's so much information, so much writing on the internet, that to find what you're looking for, you often have to skim through a lot of articles before you find one that is talking about what you want to learn about. And there's another tool that goes along with skimming called scanning. And the difference is that when you're scanning, you are looking for just one word or phrase. Maybe two or three, but usually just one. So if I'm looking at an article on animals at the aquarium, and I'm looking for information specifically on otters, I'm going to read really quickly through the whole page, just looking for the word otter. And when I find it, that word will jump out at me because that's what my brain is looking for. And then once I find that, I can maybe skim that section or actually sit down and read through that section. So that's skimming and scanning. And you, like I said, you probably do them. You just might not know what they're called. But they're very useful ways to read on the internet. You're also going to be constantly cross-referencing, which means that, say you come across a word you don't know, you can open a new window, open a new tab, and look up that word, right? You can go to a different website that that word shows up on and read about that article, and then go back to the article that you were reading. So again, it's not linear. Linear just means in a line. You start here and you go through, read from the top of the page to the bottom of the page and you're done. Reading on the internet is not like that. You jump around from site to site, from article to article, from paragraph to paragraph, whatever it may be. And sometimes the page designer will make this cross-referencing easier for you by putting in a hyperlink. I'm sure you know what a hyperlink is. It's a word that is usually in a different color. It's usually underlined, something. You click on it and it'll open a whole new page. Sometimes that's to define the word if it's a tricky word. Sometimes it's to find out just more information on that topic that word introduces. So hyperlinks are a good way to cross-reference when you are reading on the internet. You also want to take in more than just the words on the internet, right? You want to see the visual data, so pictures and graphs and anything like that. Anything, Venn diagrams and bar graphs and who knows what you're looking for. Usually pictures are the most common, right? So you want to know, well, why is that picture there? What does it add to the article? What part of the article does it reference? You want to be able to tie in all the visual data. So in this case that I'm talking about, the pictures, with the written data, so that you know where they correspond, and you can learn more by looking at the visual data and linking it to what you read in the written data. So that's another thing you're going to come across a lot online. You need to know, why is this visual data here? What is it? Sometimes you need to know. Is it a picture that shows something that I'm supposed to notice specifically? Or is it just a general picture? So am I looking for what the otter is eating? Or am I just looking to say, oh, this is a picture of an otter? It's just a general description to show you what an otter looks like. So you want to know what the purpose of the visual data is. And finally, you want to know about the context. Context is tricky on the internet because, like I said, you jump all around while you're reading. But you want to know, if you're reading an article, is it part of a larger web page, a website that has a specific purpose, and who wrote this article and why. We'll talk a lot more about that in a couple days, talking about context or the source of what you're reading. But definitely keep it in mind a lot when you're on the internet. You have to know what the context is, because, surprise, just because it's on the internet does not mean that it is correct in any way. It could be completely wrong. So context is another important thing. So skimming, scanning, cross-referencing with hyperlinks, hopefully, looking at your visual data, and knowing your context. All right, that's what I've got for you today. We will have an article on otters for tomorrow that you will practice these skills with, and then I'll be back the day after that to teach you a little bit about source and context when you're on the internet. So, happy Otter Week!